Hey, what is going on YouTube? Aaron here. A few things to talk about as indicated by the clickbait title. Number one, happy Thanksgiving, happy Black Friday. I will probably drop this video on Friday when I'm driving up to Columbus, Ohio, as my hat is indicated here for the Ohio State versus Michigan. We are not, we don't say the letter M during Michigan Hate Week, but no, just kidding. Anyway, number two, we lagged out twice in this game, and lagouts are something we have to talk about. It happened to me in the past 2 weeks, and it hasn't happened since, but I know it's been happening to a few other people, so I want to address that and potentially help the community if it is happening to you. And number three, we got to talk about the Prinz Rupprecht. The German battleships, as you can see me start to lag here, are ships that I did not think would be as good as they are, but also they are not the best. As you can see, the first lag out here. So we'll go ahead and talk about the lag outs right now. Code 11, your internet connection has lost the server. I think during this stream I lagged out a total of 6 times. I don't quite remember, and I do remember I went to the community contributor official Discord and said, "Hey guys, I've lagged out 3 or 4 or 5 times. What's going on?" Because I had people in the stream say that the game was lagging for them. I've had multiple different people on different consoles and in different regions say that the game is lagging and they are also lagging out. I will include a link in this video that if you are experiencing a similar issue, the Code 11s or lagging out, to fill out that information, because Wargaming told me that it's not on their end. And for those that have been here for a while, they know that I have had bad internet in the past, but right now I have fiber optic internet, and I did a internet speed test during this incident, and my internet was around 500 download and 500 upload, which is far better than is needed for any video game. I used to run Legends off of 3 megabyte download with very minimal interruptions as we load back in broadside to a Republic. But that brings me to the next point. Besides sailing broadside after you load back in from a lag, the German battle cruisers are actually surprisingly fun. Now, I first played this game, and I think Zarkun mentioned, like, these things are great, and while they are fun to play, they are not going to be meta ships anytime soon. And these ships need to be given the right circumstance, put in the right circumstances in order to be exceptional. Like we mentioned, Zarkun did a video, and he's like, "Yeah, I got so much damage from the secondaries and things." And while that is all fine and good, in the current state of the game, the HE spammers are very prevalent, and passive team play is more, it's found more often than not, than aggressive team play, except for the people who YOLO in and die in 2 seconds, as one of our battleships did. So you have to find the right game for these ships to be, ultimately useful, and that's fine. Not every game is going to go according to plan, but that doesn't mean that these ships are the meta in any sort of fashion. The limited damage cons, the kind of mediocre armor, and not the most accurate guns will not make these things the best. Now, I do know that the Prinz Rupprecht is the best performing Tier 8, but that's only because we have about 5 Tier 8 battleships, or 6 or so, and only a select few players have access to this ship. That is the reason the Amalfi is yet to get buffed, and a few other ships. That's also the reason I think the Baltimore got a buff, is because so many Americans play it, because it's just an American ship and they play it so poorly. I think a lot of people agree that the Baltimore didn't really need a buff, as well as the Fletcher, but it got it because of the numbers on the spreadsheet, as you can see me lag out for a second time. Just pure frustration. So again, if you are lagging out and experiencing similar problems as me, make sure to fill out that form in the links in the description down below. I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead to the middle part of this game, because despite us lagging out twice and getting rather average damage per salvo in those opening salvos, this game actually turns out to be pretty good towards the end. So we've cut out a little bit there. We killed that Republic that was on our side, as well as the Brandenburg, but we really didn't get that too much damage in a few secondary hits. So we are moving back towards the middle here. Trap provides, as we get the kill on the Hipper there with a little bit of lag on top of the kill. Trap is one of those maps where the spawns face the respective caps. So our spawn faces A, their spawn faces C, the middle spawn does. And it forces players, I don't know why Wargaming does this. It was told to me that it was done on purpose. I don't know why they do that, because people, I guess they know that the players are not smart enough to appropriately allocate their ships to the, creating crossfires. For example, if 3 ships spawn at C and they get pressed by 6, why would one of those ships at the middle B spawn there go back? But again, people, I guess, are just not smart enough. So you have to be the difference in this game as our carrier is getting focused, and we are trying to push back to that weak side. We do have a good presence here in the middle. We were trying to cap B to flip that capture points, but we were actually down on ships and down on caps in this situation. So I'm making my way back after 2 lag outs and putting myself kind of out of position. You can see how far I am away from the fight. Lobbing at long range with the German battle cruisers is not going to be the way to play at all. Which, again, kind of brings me back to the potential strength and also the weakness of these ships. If the enemy does not push into you, yes, you can get good salvos with the guns every now and then, but you are not going to be the most effective. So these ships will never be the meta. You will never see these ships in competitive gameplays. But given, a decent team, proper play style, and an aggressive enemy team, you can have a lot of fun in these things. But I just want players to be, wary, because while we can post videos of good secondary games or whatever, these ships will never be top of the tier in any sort of regard, regardless of what other community contributors say or post. A lot of people don't like to be honest or be forthright about a lot of ships. They always just like to, hey, this is the ship, it's awesome, clickbait. And I'm a little guilty of that myself in certain clickbait titles and different things like that, but it's the name of the game in YouTube. But this ship is fun, like we mentioned, in certain circumstances, and this is one of those games where we position ourselves well and the enemy team actually pushes into our I guess our defensive position here at B. Now Zatu, Mr. Zatu, he's a good player. He's a great player, actually. Is holding the cap there in the Kronstadt, and he mentions, I was going to push into B, but he's like, yeah, you should go on the outside, and I agreed with him. So we're trying to kill the carrier. That is just one less hassle that we have to deal with. This thing does not have the absolute best AA. So, anytime you can get a shot on the carrier, it's a huge advantage for your team. But the Donskoy and that team has pushed on the, I guess, the north side there of the caps, and we go ahead and rail him for a few salvos. Again, not the most effective salvos, but we have another broadside Iowa. And like we mentioned, guys, the only time you're going to be getting the most effective game out of these ships is just when the enemy is either caught off guard, you can put yourself in the right position, or they sail broadside to you. The Iowa got railed broadside. I mean, not really, put yourself in the Republic. What would we have done to that Iowa if we had got a broadside on, him in the Republic? So we get another broadside. Our secondaries take down the Donskoy. I will throw up our build at the end here, but I believe it is Von Hipper. With a mixed secondary / accuracy build. I never spec into full secondaries. I just think it's a waste. Yes, the fireworks are nice and pretty, but you're not going to be getting the most out of your ship, despite what others say or think. You are always firing your main guns. You are not always firing your secondaries. And in this game, especially solo, if you're putting yourself into position to get farmed by or to use your secondaries, you will die rather quickly without somewhat of a decent team. But down goes the Iowa with our first citadel of the game, and that is 3 kills and actually nearly 100 secondary hits. So like we mentioned, putting yourself in the right position can net you great results, as we are getting into the perfect position for this ship. Angled to both ships, and I actually think I know this Ibuki here. We've played a few times, and secondary target on the Richelieu there. So we're gonna go ahead and launch one set of torpedoes and then save the guns for potentially trying to yeet this Ibuki. And he actually gets stuck on the ship here, which is just a funny moment, and it makes it even funnier here. But we have priority secondary target. You just tap the secondary button, then press Y on the Richelieu there, so that way we can maybe get the kill. And we're racking up the secondary hits, but not too much damage, about 7,000 damage, and we actually catch this Ibuki beached with his ship essentially raised. And I wanted to shoot there because I thought his citadel was raised out of the water, but we actually get a lot of bounces and shatters. And at this point, I'm like, well, I'm dead. So luckily, our secondaries destroy one set of torpedoes, and I actually stop and turn in, and this guy misses all but one. He misses every torpedo except for one. I'm not sure how he did, but he missed that set of torps, and we get the reload, and boom, that is the dynamite and the kraken. So putting yourself, as you can see me rage with the lagouts here, putting yourself in the right position in the ship can net you great results, but it ultimately relies on, honestly, a bad team. The meta of this game is HE spam right now, and whether or not you want to accept it, these ships will not be great until we can either get more accurate guns or a damage con that can control a commander with more damage cons so you can control the fight a little bit better. They are limited in their damage cons, their non-accurate guns, and a little bit of their mediocre armor, as we mentioned earlier. But still, you can still have a lot of fun in these things, and with a good teammate, you can absolutely decimate the enemies. So shout out to Zatu here, but we got the Kraken and the Dev Strike for just a fun little replay. 230 secondary hits there as well. But just it's one of those things where it's like, yes, you can have fun in your secondary battleship, but is it really impacting the game in the most? And I don't think they are. That is my opinion, and that is how I feel about them. I really don't think you will see these ships in competitive gameplay, the Tournament of Legends or King of the Sea, for example, on the competitive PC tournament. But yeah, let me know if you guys are having lag outs. Let me know what you thought of the video. I hope everyone has a great holiday season. Hey, Aaron out. Peace.